Hello one and all, welcome to Miss VTech. Obviously we're at Grocery Getter Garage, and as you can see by the title, we are doing track day prep today. So track day is Sunday morning and at Musselman. Normally I would recommend doing track day prep like a week ahead of time. Unfortunately my sponsor didn't have the time to look at my car until Friday. So today is Friday, we have 2 days technically, if there is anything wrong that would hinder me from going on track. But as far as we know, as you guys saw, I went to autocross, so she should just be fine. She's hot off from autocross. So we're doing typical track day checking, making sure brakes are good, wheels are good, tires are inflated to the proper amount because they could be overinflated due to autocross. When you heat up your tires, they expand, which increases air pressure, so they could be at a higher pressure. But you know, we're going to check the normal, check oil, make sure that the battery cables are covered, and yeah, go from there. And if we run into anything, you guys will be along with me so you can see what happens. But yeah, should be totally fun. Okay, so we checked the oil already. It is good. We will change it after this event. But positive side terminal is covered with tape now, so that's good because that is mandatory to pass tech. We double checked battery tie down is not wobbly at all. That's what they definitely check for. Make sure your battery stays in place. So moving forward, probably gonna lift her and check brakes, wheels, well, tires anyways, torque the wheels eventually. But moving along.
Yeah, no, I really liked watching that because it was
Might be a little too tall for me. Let's see. Alright, so rotors look good. There's no obvious grooves or anything like that. So here's the outer pads. You can see it's probably at like a 7, I'd say roughly. But the inner pad, which is right in there, it's hard to see it. Right in there is a little bit smaller than the 7 out here, I believe. So, not a huge deal. Let me see if you can see it better. You can kind of see it at an angle right here. Oh, the lighting's bad. But it's right here on the other side of the rotor. It actually looks like it's got quite a bit of meat on it on this side. So, looks like brakes should be good. I know that this is slipping out. This is supposed to be further down, but not a big enough deal to have to fix until it falls out. So far brakes are good, and then we're going to be moving along. Alright, so in case you guys were wondering, this is what I constantly complain about. This is my whole spring setup that it's blown. So before coilovers, this was the thing that people did, so it's just the guys that owned it before me knew it was a good solution, a cheaper way, less expensive than just getting coilovers. But it's not supposed to move like that. It's supposed to actually dampen and make it so it doesn't move. That's the whole job of your suspension. It's dampening, which is so you don't feel that bounce whatsoever. So it's definitely, I guess you can say, quote unquote, blown. It is blown because it is just a spring. I'm not really getting much dampening at all, which is why no matter what I go over, I feel everything. So that's why that will better my track times once I get better suspension, or coilovers at least should better my track times and should be able to handle a lot better. So if you guys were wondering, because I constantly complain about it. But brakes are good. I'm gonna put the wheels back on and go from there. Alright, so just so you guys can see what we do underneath the car, we make sure there's no leaks, oil pan's good, transmission's not leaking, so no leaks at all, exhaust. We also make sure that it's still hooked up on all of these little stoppers, make sure it doesn't dangle or anything like that. We actually checked this one. We were shaking the wheel, as you guys know, is the test to see if the wheel bearing is broken or anything like that. It was giving quite a bit of a budge, so we double checked the bolts under here, which is what we always do. And these were actually loose, so which is kind of scary. So the bolts right here were loose, which is why I was giving a little bit of a wiggle. Definitely make sure you guys keep an eye out on that for your vehicles, because a wheel bearing that's broken, basically the wheel can fall off. But all bolts are nice and tight, no leaks, so we're good underneath the car. So we're gonna go ahead and move along. Alright, so we are torquing the wheels now to 90 foot-pounds. You want to torque your wheels to make sure that the vibrations don't make the lug nuts fall off, because of course then your wheels could potentially fall off. It would take a lot of vibrations to make all of your lug nuts fall off. It's kind of unlikely, but it's not unheard of. So you want to torque your wheels in a crosshatch pattern or an X pattern, because if you tighten these two, it's going to make the wheel uneven, so then this wouldn't be, when you tighten these probably wouldn't be to 90 foot-pounds. So yeah. I didn't think I'd be able to do it. Okay, you might have to do this part. Alright, so a big portion of the check prep is done. We checked suspension, made sure all the bolts underneath were tight. We also made sure the brakes were good, torqued all the wheels. And now what's next is making sure that the seat is bolted in and it's actually like sturdy, it's not going to wiggle, it's not going to fall out or anything like that, as well as the steering wheel is nice and tight, steering column's good and connected so I won't lose steering completely out there. But we're almost done. You know, track prep day usually is pretty quick, there's not a whole lot, especially because my setup is small. If you're thinking of doing your own track prep day, it depends on your setup. So if you're like mine and you have a very basic setup, it should be fairly easy, but I would definitely recommend, if you've never done it before, either researching a ton of like what to check, how many foot-pounds to torque your wheels to specifically, or have somebody like I have my sponsor who's been helping me just double checking and make sure I don't miss anything. And also I can't really torque 90 foot-pounds, it wasn't super easy, so he had to go do that for me. But I'm sure most of you guys are probably physically capable, so just make sure that you have somebody there that you can lean on and like a source to go to make sure you're checking everything properly, because you don't want to go out to track day, pay to run, and then go to tech and fail. Most associations may give you a refund, but I just know that you don't want to risk it and worry about whether or not you can get a refund. You always want to make sure you're going to pass tech for sure, have even a mechanic look it over to double check, or some associations or tracks you might actually go and you might be able to go beforehand, before the event, have them look it over and make sure you will pass tech. That's another cool thing that Musselman does that I know of. So we're almost done with mine, just gotta check again the seat, steering wheel, make sure they're good. Okay, so checking the wheel, basically it's very similar to how you check your actual wheels for the wheel bearing to see if that's loose. So you kind of want to just wiggle it. This one has a bit of play. So essentially you would want the wheel to be sturdy and not move at all when you go to wiggle. But as you can see, this one's got some play to it. So we want to make sure that the bolt for the actual wheel to the steering column is tight. Otherwise it's just going to get worse and worse, like a lug nut on a wheel does. Just vibrating and shake off eventually. So what that means is we have to take off the detachable steering wheel. Put that to the side, and this is our actual hub, so we have to undo all the Allens, and there's this massive bolt about the size of this that's underneath here. That's where you would tighten, or what you would tighten. Alright, so this is what we're looking at. So this is the hub still attached to the car, but this is that front plate that had all those Allens in it. These are some connectors for the horn, and I actually don't have a horn, so the horn, there's a plate behind this, so we're going to actually take this off because we have to tighten this bolt anyways. This is the bolt I was talking about that's making my steering wheel kind of budge a little. So we're going to actually take this off and check out the horn, because I do need a horn because it's Tucson and freeway stuff. And then we're going to tighten this, and then we'll put all this back together and should have a nice sturdy wheel. But it didn't move a whole lot in the first place, so really, but should be checked anyways. So, yep. Alright, so this piece is off. This is the back of that plate. There it is, the actual hub itself. So there's this little metal piece that actually rubs against this, and that's what creates the horn sound, or it makes the horn work basically. But this is that little piece. You can see right here it's sheared off. There was a screw holding it. It's actually supposed to be up higher. There was a screw holding it in. We already took that off, and I went to take it off, realized it's an L shape. It's hard to see, but back there is a more of the actual metal piece. So we're actually taking these two screws off and taking this completely apart so we can get this out of here. Alright, so I stole the one from my sponsor's car. So here is a non-broken one. It's got that long piece to it, and here is the broken one that was in my car. Completely just sheared off. So hopefully this new one should work. If you guys are wondering why we're doing track prep day with the horn, it's because this is my daily car as well. So, yep, need a horn. Alright. Okay, so that brings an end to track day prep. We have the steering wheel's nice and bolted tight. The seat isn't moving. I didn't film that, but the seat's sturdy. Brakes are good. Wheels are all torqued. The only thing I didn't do yet on camera anyways was tire pressure, but tire pressure's good. She's fine. So, and then you want to check the day of the tire pressure before you go out on track, and then check it after you get off because the wheels again get hot. So really tire pressure is not a major thing until the day of. But that brings an end to this video. It is a short video because, again, I don't have the proper setup to make it a really long video anyways. We were going to check out our friend's Integra where the motor, the B18 actually came from, or the GSR actually came from. He actually ran into a few things, problems, so he won't be able to make it today, which is fine. So maybe we'll do a track day prep on his car another day. But that brings an end to the Wagons track day event, track day prep, whatever, for the event. So I hope to see you guys at Musselman on Sunday, because that's where I'll be. Stop by and say hi, and hopefully we can better my times. Right now with the old motor, the B18A1, which didn't have VTEC obviously, she ran a 108. Same setup as she has now, just we're gonna test it with the new motor, which has I believe about 50 more horsepower. But the same tires, same brakes, same suspension, everything's exactly the same. We're just going to see what the horsepower difference is. So hopefully we can get closer to a minute, and we'll see. So thanks for watching. Hopefully this helped anybody that's looking at track day event prep. Track day event prep, I keep doing that. Track day prep for an event. But see you guys next time, or at the track.